All right, I've been following this for a while. All over the world, there's these giant stone balls, and this is Sam Osmaganich, and I've contacted him trying to get the chemical analysis of these things, but he did respond, but I just never did get any chemical analysis. But I now understand what they are. I'm almost 100% sure, and I believe this exact spot was the spot of the attachment. All right, there it is, the smoking gun. And that's what I do, is smoking gun science. If I can't prove it with absolute facts, I don't present it. Now, that ball is the same ball that we saw Sam, the Bosnian guy, had over there. Now, that was where the attachment would be for the cord that attaches to these balls as the anchor. And it would have gone right up through this area here and attached under there. Now you look at the texture of this and the texture of this. Why do you think that texture is different than this texture here and everywhere else? Well, that texture there is the protective mechanism. It's called the Chinese finger trap of the tendon mat. And that is what holds that tendon strap, as you saw or will see in the flat tendinous material in a living creature. And that ball is on the tendinous mat. The strap comes back through and then anchors to the flat sheet of muscle, and the muscle is kaolin clay, and that is kaolin clay. That is a fact. Well, actually, muscle is not the kaolin clay specifically. This type of kaolin clay, I believe, is literally skin, because that is what the kaolin clay is. It's the skin. And there's 4 different types of them, and they're the same colors as the skin tissues. And every time I find kaolin clay, I find hairs, or I find some other skin tissue characteristic. And I'll show you some giant hairs. All right, there's a couple things I need you to focus on here. Now, look at this. You see this flat plate here? That's muscle fiber, all right, or tendinous fibers. And what they do is they anchor in, and that ball is supposed to be in that hole, and it's ripped out of there, and that guy is in serious pain. Now, that ball is the balls that we're talking about. And that little flap of stuff is the Chinese finger trap that holds that ball. You see it? You see these here? Whoops, you can't see it. Hold it. All right, you see up here? And you see there's a whole batch of boom, 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 boom. And they go, and then there's another set of them, another set of them, another set of them. And the reason that is because this strap is being held. It might be a flat muscle across your stomach, or that type of thing. Tendons have a lot of different ways of investing into your body. And they tie off muscles and other tendinous material, and they anchor them into something. Now, they either anchor them into other muscles or into tissues or into the bone. And in this case, it looks to me like it was anchored into other tissue. Now, these type of structures appear on your feet too, and they appear in your hands. These little balls are the things that hold, the things that pull your fingers around, the tendons. They hold the tendons into the bone. If it was bone, in this case, it could be either muscle or bone or tissue. That's how they invest themselves. So there's a lot to tendons that people don't understand. And you can see, now remember that gooey stuff that was around the edge of that hole where I'm saying the strap goes in? Well, it's going to be a different, the body is very, very good at articulating exactly what it needs in the exact spot it needs it, and that would be a more fibrous, more densely packed material, and that is exactly what's seen. It's not that fibrous, that milky white looking stuff. It's a more of a structural material. And Keenan has just given us the smoking gun. That is exactly the same ball that I am showing it. Well, I'm not showing it. Whoever took that picture of that huge stone ball that was on top of the white kaolin clay, that is identical, same structure. Now we can see that there is also delamination, and this is created as laminates, and I believe that was the spot where the tendon enthesis attached, right there, and right out there, back to that tendon strap, just as we saw in all the other stuff. Now, what have we proven? Well, I don't know if we've proven anything, but I think we have. This is literally the same stuff, and this is what's called feldspar, and feldspar is fully understood by me now, which it's, and I have the process all done. It's called 10 mud fossilization by the numbers. There's 10 steps that it goes through, and it happens because of electrical currents that are in wet things. It's just a fact it happens, and I studied that too. Let me just talk to you about for a second why I feel I'm comfortable to talk about this. I serviced Nike Hercules missiles in the Army. When I got out, I got into electronics and semiconductors, and I studied quantum. And before that, I had found rocks in the woods when I was hunting as a kid in moraines. And I thought, how do all these crazy-looking rocks get together? Like, what are these shapes? What's this crazy stuff going on? And I never could figure it out. Well, life went on. I went through all this stuff. I started studying everything. I mean, I studied everything: biology, anatomy, space, physics, quantum, chemistry. You know, there's nothing. I just can't help myself. It's a condition I have. I can't help it, but it's what happens. Now, so anyway, all of this stuff accumulates through my life, and I keep seeing things that I can't. And then, as I got later in life, I started to find out they're all alive. The damn things were alive. So now I go and get DNA tests on the stuff that I've collected, and I get CAT scans, and it all comes back. Yeah, it's alive. It was alive. The DNA test, 100%, 100%. No question whatsoever, and they were done magnificently. So don't talk to me about contamination. Now, then I figured out the process, and I made my own stuff in the lab. I made my own mud fossils. All right, there's your kaolin clay. That's kaolin clay all around a sweat gland in a living creature. And the kaolin clay is the skin. It's literally skin. And these are the skin cells, and they are the same virtual colors as skin. That's what it is. And they use that kaolin clay to make extremely high quality fine china, because there is no particulates in it. It's just like if you took and eroded your skin and then made it into that powder, that's what you would have. All right, there's the hair again, and that's the kaolin clay. And I don't know who those people are, or the dog. But that's what happens. It eroded away. This is a Lake Crowley, somewhere out west. And there's your red and your black. That the red is the ferrous oxide, the FeO3, which has the extra oxygen, and the black is the depleted oxygen side. And they do that as the blood transfers through your skin. It becomes deoxygenated and turns black, and then it is returned through the veins. That's just the way it works. See how all the other hairs are eroded back evenly over here, little hairs, and then you see this big thing sticking up here. I got a feeling that's one of those big old nasty hairs that sticks out of your one, and every now and then you get like one of those little brown spots. I don't know, but this is the only thing I can think of. All right, this is what those hairs look like in electron microscope. Now, that's your kaolin clay, and there's your hair. You see the variegations, whatever you want to call them, the little scaling of the hair. It's exactly what you see of the giant hairs. It's what it is. What it is. All right, that's a hair, and that is the arterial side. Right? Well, it's one or the other. You got the blood supply here and the out here. Now, you see this red stuff? That's the skin. That's the skin layered around. And you see the scaling. It appears to be a human. All right, you can see exactly the same thing that I showed you in that huge hair. There's your blood vessels go in and come back out, and that's the hair, and it has those, and that's all your skin around it, the red stuff. Ferrous oxides within the skin, the blood tissue, and this shows the type of tissues they are, and that shows how it looks through the center going down. And I have a lot of examples of hairs that were cut straight across, and they have that same thing. Sorry to shake up your world, but that is a hair, and that is the kaolin skin that is all around it. And there's a bunch of these in this area, and that's just what it is. This is over in England somewhere. That is a hair. That is a hair, And this is Kaolin Clay, the skin. Alright, once again, there's different types of tendons, but they all have a similarity. And the similarity is that they're mineralized emplacements into something to hold muscles or other tendons. And they form this way. This is the actual formation of a tendon ball that is the antithesis of a bone implant. And they grow like this. And what it ends up being that this is a very highly mineralized, very spiky material in here, and it's actually what's known as it mineralizes as plagioclase. And that plagioclase is just like iron. I mean, it's unbelievable. Now, so now you have the ball. Then you have a transition to a different material, a different mineral, and you can see there's a transition. There's all kinds of transitions, and then you get out here, and there's another transition where you go from the tendon to the muscle. So that's just what it is. I mean, I didn't make this up. This is the way life works. Now, this particular style of implant, which I have a numerous quantity to show you those, that is the bone implant, and that sits inside the bone with a flat bottom on it. Now, I'll show you another one. Hold on a second. All right, you remember I told you there's a lot of abrupt transitions in the tendon. Now that one's right there. Those are the tendon straps. You see them? And that is like there's a red Slurpee. There's a texture to these that is exactly the same as you saw on the Achilles tendon. Now, this is the abrupt transition. These are the same stones, and they are limestone. You see this little white stuff? It's limestone, and the reddish stuff on it is the Slurpee, the synovial sheath. So this is primarily stone. Well, it's all stone now, but it's primarily limestone, calcium stones. Now, it glues into this. This is what's called, I call it Slurpee, and it's a red. See this stripe here? See that texture? That is the texture of the Achilles. Now, this is heavily invested with blood, and that glues it right to this, which is your muscle. And that's just, I'm not making it up. It's what happens. That's the glue. Now, there's the transition. That's where that would normally break, because it's now transitioning from the Slurpee material and the boardy material, and then see that's the transition. Now, here we go. Now we still got some minerals. Now we're starting to go into some fleshy stuff. Now we're starting to squirt some blood into here, and now we've reached another transition. There's one right there. There's another transition here. This is just the way it works. It gets to here and it says, okay, we're done here, guys. Now let's start making it a little more gooey out here. And then it gets out to here and it says, okay, let's just jump right into the muscles now. This is what you see all around the world. These are what they make caves out of, because the holes are already there. They're arterial holes. They're holes. They're already there. And these are the holes. Guess where this is? On Comet 67P, the same holes. That is a tendon. Comet 67P is a tendon. And they had a lander out there, the Rosetta space mission from the European Space Agency, sent a lander out there. It went inside, and it took all these pictures, and it took all the gas symbols, and what it happens is it shoots the gases out of these holes, because those holes are literally blood vessels that have the blood of life still in them to some degree. Now, these are that's the tendon ball that I've been showing you. See those spikes? Boom, boom, boom. Those are the spiky spikes that hold it into your body. Then it goes up through the tendon stalk. Then at a certain point, the transition happens, and it breaks off, and the muscle floats into space. I'm telling you, this is what it is. I did not making this up. This is an absolute fact. So now, they're coming out here. Let me see if I can get past some of this stuff. Let's find a good spot. Oh, here we go. Out here, you see that? I have a tendon stalk. It's identical. Absolutely identical to this. Let me show you. Hold on, it's all right over here. That is the exact same antithesis as this. You see it? It even has the same, well, let me find a spot where you can see this. It even has the same holes up at the top where, whoops, you see those little, you see the other one? I'll show you in a second. You see it's come around down here, these stripes? And you see that here? That's the antithesis ball. That right there is the ball that you see floating in space. And these are spikes. There is spiky spikes there. I don't know if you can see them, but boy are they spikes. And that is what holds that thing into this bone. Now this is combusted, I don't know, got incinerated, but what it is, somehow, I don't know, this could actually be a meteorite, because all the meteorites were actually alive at one point too. So this is the identical same structure as this. And that's all I can tell you is this is what it is, it's a fact. So even out here, let me give you, well actually I show it right here. Yeah, that's this and that's that. It's exactly the same thing. It's identical. So I showed it, I didn't have to show you before. You see the ball down here? That's the same ball. That's what's floating in outer space. And then the tendon stalk comes up to there, and it's eroded all around this area. That's the way the nature of nature is. And all this red slurpy stuff is all fully understood, and that's what they found around here, and they were all chemicals of life. You see the two blood holes up there? A vein and artery, I believe they are, and the same on the other one. There is no difference. So that's what that is. Alright, this is not what I showed you in the first shot with the little round ball. This is an Achilles tendon. This is a monster tendon, the biggest tendon in your body, I believe. Anyway, this ball is on in your heel, and the straps come out and they run up your legs until they attach at a certain point out here with the muscles. And there are abrupt transitions here too, and that's where the surgeons will always have to repair them. And if you look here, you can see this is a different, it starts to go away from the really tough stalk, and these are like little circles here, and then it turns into this, and you can see it does it everywhere along this whole plane. And when you hurt your Achilles tendon, it rips right in that area. And there's other places it breaks, and I think there's another transition out here somewhere, and then there's another one where it goes into the muscle, and that is just the way Mother Nature made it. Alright, I told you I'd change your life today, and if it doesn't change your life, I don't know where you live. This is tendinous straps in a Chinese desert, and this is the product of blood fossilization. 99% of the things I show are mud fossilization. And that means what was in the solvents that leached into whatever was here. Now this was organic matter. This was organic matter, and it was wet from the flood. Or whatever happened, I can't tell you, but this was wet at some point, and then a giant heart or whatever leaked a huge quantity of blood onto this. And this happened in Australia too, same thing. And that's what causes the opals. Now, the reason these little color bands are all so articulate, and you see these little spots here, those are the spots that are where the blood, see it? That's where the blood invests into there to keep them, you know, alive when they're living. Now, of course, it's obviously dead and petrified now. Now, why is it all this color band? Why are these particular stripes looking? The colors there is just vibrant and amazing. Well, the reason is, if you look at opals, they also are extremely specific in their colors, and I will show you that in a minute, and it'll blow your heart. Anyway, these stripes happen in this manner due to transition metal bonding characteristics, which are very, very, very unique. Now, what happens is transition metals, which are in the blood, and that's where they are heavily concentrated in blood, they want to find other organic matter that they can interact with and become stable. That is the key. Now, what can the transition metal do? Well, it can come down and hook to anything. However, it wants to hook to a certain thing, like sulfur here, let's say, and this might be copper, and this might be some other thing, and this is ferrous, but they all have a certain chemical that they want to talk to, and they want to live their life with and become stable. So in blood, all of those chemicals exist. So you would think the first chemical to hit it, it would hook up with that chemical, and they would live together for the rest of their life. Well, that's not the way transition metals work. They are highly mobile. What does that mean? That means that as the blood is here, the first thing here, this let's say this is sulfur. It says, give me some of this, and oxygen comes along. All right, I'll take you. And then a little later, it needs something else. And to become this color and bond, it needs, let's say, an H and an N and whatever it needs. It needs some kind of other things. And transition metals will allow those things to come and go until the right one comes along. That's why they end up with the exact perfect partner, and they come stable, and then they become these magnificent colors in the magnificent patterns of life that Mother Nature has designed to build creatures. And this is the tendinous pattern, and I will show you what it looks like in a real living creature. Alright, that's the exact same identical structure that you just saw in that colored tendon from China, in the desert. And you see the wavy pattern, you see where the blood invests, you see all the different little stripy looking things here. And here it's all coated with blood, and they're doing their job here. They're not dead yet. When they get into the condition of a dead item, it wants to stop doing what it's doing. Here it's living. It says, give me some of that. Okay, you take this, have a nice day, and we're all living and having a good time. Well, no, all of a sudden you're dead, you're dead. And what does it say then? It says, hey, I got to find somebody to just lay here with me for the rest of my life, or whatever you want to call it. And it finds the right person, or the right molecule, and it may go through 1,000 different molecules before it finds the right one. And then it says, okay, I'm yellow now, and that's what I'm supposed to be, because I happen to be this exact type of matter. And then over here, it's going to say, I'm the same as you. What did you use? And he says, I used sulfur. Okay, give me some sulfur. And boom, sooner or later, that one becomes that same color. But they don't all of a sudden, blip, all turn the right color. That doesn't work that way. That's the beauty of transition metals. All right? And they are right in the middle of the periodic chart, and they are literally the reason that life works. I figured this out, that the reason the life works. And that is the only reason that molecules and chemicals can do the kind of things they do inside your body, is because of the ability for transition metals to work specifically with specific other molecules. That's the way it works. Alright, now I talked about the transition metals, and that is the reason you see what you see here. This is a heart. And I'm going to show you the anatomical heart, cut in half, identical to this, identical. Now, this blue stuff around here is the inner lining of the ventricle walls, and these little things are the heartstrings. You see them? They're the heartstrings. This is the blood. Ferrous oxide turns red. This, I don't know why it turns blue, but there's you saw how the tendons have all of those different variations and those different layers, and you can see they're all here. Everything has its own little color, and it's doing its own little job, because it's its own little variation of tissue. And that is the way the bodies work. It's a fabulous, fabulous, unbelievable design. And there's no way in the world molecules bumping up and force and hitting each other cause this. Absolutely insane to think this happened from some Big Bang where hydrogen just came from nothing. And by the way, if the Big Bang created only hydrogen, where did the neutrons come from? You don't think of anything. And there's the same heart that I showed you in the opalized version. Now that opalized version was found in a place, I can't remember the name of it. It's Yowa. I think it's Yowah. It's an area inside of Australia, which Australia is soaked in blood. Ayers heart is a heart. I mean, Ayers rock. They should call it Ayers heart, because it's a heart. There's absolutely zero question about it. And I have a video about that. It is a heart, and that's why everything's red around here. That is blood. And that is a heart. It's case closed. Now, and so I'm showing you what I'm showing you. I'm showing you these giant creatures. I'm showing you these giant features. I'm showing you these huge things. I have DNA, CAT scans. I have giants coming out of my ears. Stonehenge is made of giants, and they're bigger than anything. I mean, it's just incredible that nobody bothers to look at this stuff when all of this evidence exists. This is no just guesses and so forth. It's just there, but it's too extremely spectacular for your mind. I understand that, but get over it, man. Look, just think about what I'm saying. You can't just run in the woods and hide and say, "Oh, I'm scared. I can't look at this." It's just true. So that's the case. Now, when you go out starting looking for your own mud fossils, you find them right in your backyard. In 10 minutes, I absolutely guarantee you, you will have creatures in your hand that are petrified. You know, body parts. Now, these are the heartstrings again. And what you're going to see in a heart is the heart will be round. There'll be a cross here and one going this way. It'll be like an angle across like this. And you'll see black dots. And one swish will be thick and one will be thinner. And those are the two different ventricle walls. One's, I don't know, 30% of the other or something like that. All right, these are the people, the best people I think I've come across since I've walked the face of the planet. Help me out with this in ways that I can never appreciate, or I fully appreciate and can never repay. Now, Jesse Garant and his crew up there, Fabio, and all of the people up there, fabulous, and they know what they're doing. You see what they're doing? They have equipment that can look inside a metal and all kinds. They look inside of racing engines and they find out if there's any imperfections. Look, it's a CAT scan, and that's what they did for me. They did 7 CAT scans, and they took their time and they did it and for me in the interest of science, and they will be known for this, and it is fully appreciated, and the world will appreciate this. Thank you, Jesse. All right, that is a left thumb, and it's been CAT scanned. You see how my thumb, if you look in the bumps and everything, you see these bumps? That is the exact same bump you have. That is the exact same skin crease you have. That is the bed of the fingernail. And these little spots here, there's a name for it. It's called aptonosis or something. I forget what it is, but these are the anchor spots for the skin tissues that have to be held in. They can't be ripped out of there when you start pulling against them. And your tendons have the same thing. That is their anchors. And this is fully understood. And we went through this 7 CAT scans, and there's no question what they are. So that's just what it is. Now here's another one where they plane up through, and we could see all of the blood vessels that run up through. They're exactly in the right places. And then we could see the bone as we went up through it, and it's just all exactly what it is. All right, that right there is the hand that finger came off of, and it's a left hand. And if you put your left hand out exactly like that, you're going to see your fingers go out and your pad of your hand comes around like this. It's some kind of different tissue than this part of your hand. Then there's a ligament that goes down here. So we're looking at this and we're looking at that. Now look over here. It's exactly what you have. This pad is a different, and this is that, and this part right here is where your, whatever, your thumb goes. Now, watch this here. Hold on a second.
So it doesn't prove it to be human.
Now, it should show in a second a bigger shot of this little area here. See, watch right here. That is, look, watch this. See it? That is just like somebody pasted it on there. Now, you see this silver stuff that's in here? That silver stuff is silicon. And silicon is dense in your hands, in your skin tissue of your hands. It's a very tough skin in your hands, very dense with silicon. So where the skin has eroded, it left the actual silicon, and that's why I was wondering, why are these always silver in the hands? And anyway, because I got tons of this stuff. This is not something that's sparse. I have lots of this stuff. There's a bunch of stuff I'm going to be going over in a video and explain the differences. There's a ton of lungs there, there's hearts there, there's the finger there. I got that stuff that I was just showing you a minute ago. Hold on. This one right here, that is the big finger that was in the CAT scan. And that was also CAT scan, DNA tested, 100% human. DNA tested, 100% human. This is a fingertip that was with that, but it eroded away. It was in a different section. And I also have the knuckle over here that goes along with that, and that's the bone ball from the knuckle. Anyway, and you can find all kinds of stuff. Mudfossil University on YouTube, free. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. You're not going to pay, so you don't lose anything. It's up to you. What I'm showing you is reality, and what you're going to learn in the university is not reality. It's just wrong. So you do what you think is right, but it's up to you.